Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Real.
How are you this fine night?
It is a wonderful night. It's a beautiful night. The crescent moon is courting Venus, even as we speak.
Man, that sounds romantic, doesn't it?
That's what I named that picture I took and sent to you.
There it is.
I
That's a
don't think
beautiful
I don't think I've told you that that's the
picture.
name though.
No, you didn't, but that's okay. That's a very romantic name. And you do, by the way. Folks should know this. RFM is really big on taking pictures when the scenery is gorgeous. And if you're in a friend group or text group with RFM, you end up getting beautiful morning and evening pictures when he's either on a walk or on his way to work or whatever it is. Like you send stuff out. Anyway, the pictures you take are gorgeous.
Thank you very much. And they're not all selfies, no.
They're not actually. They're just no people in it. So yeah, but that is they're beautiful pictures. How's your weekend?
Actually, they are all selfies. That's how you can tell I'm a vampire.
That's it. Good thing there's some
Secrets
people out there with
Hence
silver.
the evening wear.
Yeah. How was your week this week?
It was a wonderful week. That was. And let me see here. You know something? I've been planning on doing this for a couple of weeks now.
Yep.
Because as you know, we'll get some idea about something that we can talk about in case it's like disaster week last Friday when nobody called in hardly. I hope that won't happen again tonight. I hope a lot of people will be calling in and Zooming in or StreamYarding in or whatever you call it with your computer and your laptop.
And I'll just note RFM. I'll put the link in the chat for folks. And I will put it in the video description as well. And then also the banners they're running at the bottom, 662-667, 6667, or 662 Mormons will get it done as well. All right.
Holiday Time says RFM should start a blog that's just pretty scenery pictures.
You should.
It's frequently the same landscape or riverscape or mountainscape, just at different times of the day and of the year. And different fingers of my hand partially obscuring the lens.
We do have somebody down there below.
Yeah, was that not funny? I thought that was funny.
Sorry, I didn't get it.
The fingers.
What about the fingers?
Okay, I said the same landscapes, the same riverscapes, the same mountainscapes at different times of the day and different times of the year, and with different fingers partially obscuring the lens.
Okay? I'll laugh, but every one of your pictures has no fingers in it. You take the most.
I know, but they don't know that.
I know, and
if my finger were in it, I wouldn't save it.
No, you would retake it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sans finger.
Let's see what Pearl has to say.
Pearl,
we'll get to you here in just a second. RFM, tell us these books. You've been wanting to talk about these. I want to know about these books you've been reading.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Yeah.
So I kind of ran out of stuff to read because I had finished, what was it, Bleak House. Wow, what an endeavor. Oh, and then of course, I had that sideways. I had to go with Stephen King and his Salem's Lot. And then I thought I need to have things to read. So I went over to the secondhand, half price, whatever they call it, discount bookstore, which is nearby and actually almost just next door. And I was looking for one book and I walked out with like 10. So, but one of the book that I was looking for, let's just start with that, shall we? Okay. And then we can go to Pearl. Okay, this isn't easy to do. This is one I've been looking for quite a while. Do you know this book, Bill? The Once and Future King by T.H. White?
Nope.
Everybody out there who does? Okay, this is an absolute classic. And I happened somehow, through good fortune or God's grace, to have encountered this is a book in 4 parts. And they cover different parts of King Arthur's life. Okay. So it's fictionalized. I guess that goes without saying since it's about King Arthur. The first book, separately bound, came into my life when I was 12 or 13, and I loved it. Now, this is called The Sword and the Stone. Now, you've heard of that, haven't you, Bill?
I have heard of Sword of the Stone. Yeah.
Yeah, because they named the movie, the Disney movie, The Sword and the Stone, in which they that it tracks this, The Sword and the Stone, as Arthur is growing up, as Wart is growing up, and then he finds out at the end that he is actually right-born king of all England. But that's here. But that's just the first of 4 books here. I'm pretty sure it's 4. Anyway.
What was the name of the movie with Sean Connery in it? Wasn't it him that played?
Are you talking? I hope you're not talking about First Night or something.
No, it's a long time ago, the 80s. Camelot maybe was the name of the movie.
No. Well, I'm sorry. Camelot is a musical that Richard Harris starred in 65 or 66, I think it was, and did a fantastic job. So that's the name of the musical. I mean, that doesn't mean they couldn't name a movie Camelot, but it's not ringing any bells.
Excalibur, they're saying, is the older one. Let me look that up.
Oh, Excalibur is like 79, wasn't it? Had Helen Mirren in it. I never saw it, actually. I think it was R, and I had just joined the freaking church, so no way am I watching that.
Yeah, it was really good.
I'm not watching any good movies because I'm a Mormon.
Yeah, that would explain it. I watched a lot of good movies because I wasn't a Mormon. So,
yeah. See, Kolob Choir Queen seconds it. Of course, it was rated R. Otherwise, I probably would have seen it because that would be appealing to me. Stuff about Excalibur and King Arthur and all that stuff. But the rest of the book I did read once, and that was, it's actually 40 years ago. It was 1985 that I read this entire book from beginning to end. That's 40 years ago. It's wonderful. It's magical. It's incredibly well written. And that's why it's actually a classic by T.H. White, The Once and Future King. And yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that once I get to it. In and amongst all these other books, which we'll get to in a bit.
Did you say how many parts there were?
I think it's 4. I mean, I guess I can look in the beginning. I'm just going off memory. Yeah. The Sword and the Stone is the first part. The Queen of Air and Darkness is the second part. The Ill-Made Knight is the fourth part. The third part. And the fourth part, by the way, is titled The Candle in the Wind.
By the way, you were right. First Night is the older one that I was thinking about. Richard Gere and Sean Connery. Yes.
Yeah, I never saw that.
Yeah, I was going to put it up on the screen, but I can't find a good image of it. But I loved it as a kid. It was great adventure movie with a little bit of romance in there and deception and betrayal.
Well, I love the musical Camelot. So if Sean Connery and Gere had just like danced together under a full moon and star-studded sky, then that could have made it. Just a little music, a little dancing. That's all we need.
That's all that's necessary, huh?
We got a musical.
Yeah, there you go. Let me grab Pearl and see what she has to say, and then I want to hear about the next book or set of books that you're reading.
Okay.
Pearl, how are you?
I'm good. Hi, gentlemen. How are you?
Good.
Great. Pearl Jam. How you doing?
I'm good. I was the one that called in a while ago. I'm the Nevermo from Southern Indiana.
Nice.
Down by Terre Haute, where your dad was born.
Right. I recall
Yeah.
now. Yes.
Okay, now I have a question for the bishop. So you got to put your bishop hat on.
For Bill.
For Bill. Okay. So I'll try to make this easy as possible to follow, but I'll put my own personal spin in it. So if I was a member in your church and I came to you and said, I have a problem, I'm an addict, I need mental help, like a 72-hour hold, and I need to get clean, would you personally help, or would you just say, here, go here, bye, leave my office? I mean, would you personally follow up and see how I'm doing, help me get the facilities I needed?
In my bishop days.
Yes.
In my bishop days, if somebody came to me with a problem like that, it would have been something I would have not encountered, and I might have reached out to a stake president or something to see what he would want me to do. if I'm put on the spot, I think I would have had reservations of not knowing. Are you coming to me as a member? Are you coming to me as a stranger in the community? I mean, how do I know you?
A member. Like
You're a
if I
member.
was a member of the church, yes.
Yeah, I think I would figure out some way to help. I would have felt a really deep obligation to everybody in the ward, and if somebody came to me inactive or active, I would have tried to figure out some way to help them.
Yeah, and I could say Pearl or whoever it is. Have we given a name to this fictitious person?
Me.
Okay, I
Me.
could say Pearl.
Yes,
If
you
you
can say
want,
Pearl.
if you
That's
want to
fine.
have 72-hour commitment, all right. If you want that, all you have to do is
Mhm.
tell me that you're seriously considering harming yourself, and I'll pick up the phone and call 911. And you will,
Okay.
and we'll wait for them to escort you to that 72-hour commitment.
Okay.
Yeah, and I
And
would
then
do
I
that.
I
say, is that what you want me to do?
No, I was just I personally have been in that situation where
Oh, and I
I
don't
put
mean right
myself.
now. I mean in this fictional
No,
meeting right
not
now.
right now. But
Yeah.
I have put myself in the 72-hour hold, and I have been clean for I have been clean for 3
911.
years. Look, he's
911. We
calling
have an
now. Like, go get
emergency
her
at
again.
in southern Indiana. We need an immediate response for a 72-hour commitment. I'm sorry, you
Yeah.
were saying?
No, it's okay. And I've been clean for 3 years this year.
Yeah, well,
And
congrats.
so I've now gone back to I'm going back to school and going into the addictions part of the program so I can, be help to somebody. But
So
knowing the
you did go
church,
into your bishop and he was not helpful.
no. I'm not affiliated, but I'm just
Never
asking
know.
this question.
Oh.
I'm the never know. So I'm just coming and asking it as a question,
Yeah.
knowing church has had issues with LDS counseling and stuff like that. So if I was a member going, I need help, how would it be handled?
I would have lacked, again, if you were a stranger, I think I would have wanted to reach out to a stake president, but I would not have had confidence in the higher up leadership that they would handle those kinds of situations the right way. Yeah, I don't know. But being a member, I would want to help right away. I would want to do something, but I wouldn't have known what to do. I would never have encountered something like that. So it would have been,
Mm.
I don't know how well I would have handled it, but I would have wanted to help.
Yeah. I just want to let everybody know that meowing is not coming from my suit.
No, that's my cat. Sorry, back there.
Well, thank you,
That's my
Pearl.
cat.
Appreciate you coming in.
Have a good night, guys.
Hey, take it easy.
Yeah.
Tell us about this other book.
Oh, okay. So there's all these books here, and I can go through them all, but I won't. Sorry. We're having a hurricane. And this is one I got, okay. So I'll just tell you the story of this one, all right? I get this one because I'm looking for something by John Steinbeck that I haven't read yet. And there's this book, it's called Sweet Thursday. I don't remember hearing of this before. So I look on the back, and it's a sequel to Cannery Row. Well, I've read Cannery Row and most of his other books. And I had the book. It was here. It's this beautiful book right here. It's a collection of his short novels. It's all 6 of them, right? And Cannery Row's there. I had read it for the first time 10 years ago. And I loved it. And I loved Tortilla Flat as well. Those were the 2 I had not read before 1985 when I got this book. And they were just amazing and wonderful. And so I'm reading now Cannery Row in order to prepare to read the book I got.
What was the Steinbeck book you did an episode on? It had like treasure digging in it or something. Was it?
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure that was the Tortilla Flat one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
There was, the whole. Go ahead, you talk about it. That whole chapter that was given up to that wonderful episode of treasure digging, which rang so many bells, and I thought, holy cow! And this is set in Northern California, so the Salinas area, Monterey, and probably in the 1930s. And even then, 100 years later, on the other side of the country, they're still doing it.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the episode. Treasure digging with Joseph Steinbeck. Instead of Joseph, because you're expecting to say Joseph Smith and Joseph Steinbeck, or John Steinbeck. Sorry, I'm messing it all up. But what's new?
It's right there. It's the first one, Brownie. It's
Yeah.
tortilla flat. It's okay. I make a lot of mistakes too. There's no shame in that.
Let's see here. Let me put this up on the screen. This is the reason I love this. This was early on. This was episode 57 of yours, and you were killing it by episode 3. I mean, episode 1 was great. Episode 3, it was pretty clear that you were going to be really good at doing this podcast thing in the Mormon world. And you recorded this episode 57, Treasure Digging with Joseph Smith and John Steinbeck. And I added sound effects to it. And I don't know if
Yes,
you remember.
you loved it, and you wanted to add sound effects because I'm reading from the book.
Yeah.
And we're getting sound effects from Bill Reel, like there was a foghorn out there,
Yeah, those kinds of things. And I really enjoyed that. Anyway, I thought it was a great episode too. I had a lot of fun listening to it. Anyway, good. I always say this from the very beginning. You just were kicking booty. So,
Well, it was just incredible, wasn't it? And there was something about finding it in a famous freaking book, even though I managed to not read it until I was like 55 years old. But to find it there in America on the other side of the country 100 years later, and it's just like, this has staying power. It wasn't just in the 1820s in Joseph Smith's neighborhood.
no, treasure digging was a thing. And there are really, you almost have to thank Joseph Smith because it's a big part of why our cultural history has it in the record. It would be so few and far between if it wasn't for Joseph Smith's treasure digging, making a segment of people interested in trying to figure out what the treasure hunting and folk magic practices were of 19th century America.
Yeah, and I was actually thinking it's got to be in the first part of this book that I read from, but I won't subject you to that, but it is had elsewhere, together with sound effects. I was thinking also that John Steinbeck in his book Cannery Row, as I said, which I'm rereading, is quite similar to the last book I read, which was Stephen King's Salem's Lot, which is that they both create a small town and inhabit it with characters. And some of them are the main characters that we're going to follow mostly through, but we'll skip chapters to talk about other ancillary characters. And some of them not that important at all, except to create the realism of a town with real people in it, because they're vibrant and they seem lifelike. All of them. That's the thing. Stephen King did it in Salem's Lot. Incredible. Steinbeck did it in Cannery Row. Equally as incredible.
Yeah, great. Yet sometimes authors will employ the same tactic or the same tool into the text or the same sort of background information. So, what else are you? So you haven't started either of these, or you are in the midst of reading the second one?
No. I have to read one book at a time.
Yeah,
I'm a one book at a time kind of guy. Okay.
gotcha.
And I got this one, Rabbit Redux by John Updike. It was a couple years ago now. Was it 3 years ago now? I read the first one for the first time since I was supposed to read it in high school in AP English class. It's really good. So I'm looking forward to reading the sequel. Oh, I've got to read something by Tolstoy. I haven't read anything by Tolstoy. So Anna Karenina. That's a good one. And I need to read this one too, The Invisible Man. The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. That's famous and an important work. And another John Steinbeck. America and Americans. America and Americans. I love John Steinbeck. I'm sorry, there's a couple more.
No,
Notice I think exclusively. No, there's one hardback, Rabbit Redux. I try and get the paperback versions, if at all possible. Hard Times by Charles Dickens, right? This is what they based Good Times off of from the 70s TV show. It was the same but different. That's a much smaller one than the one I just read. And, oh my gosh, Ken Casey wrote Sometimes a Great Notion. I didn't know he had written that as well as One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And I read that a few years ago. And now I've got to finally read this thing. It's so important. Jack Kerouac, On the Road. I watched, I know I watched A Complete Unknown. And I think that was referenced in there probably at some point. And I thought, oh, that's right. I've got to read that. And I saw it. So I grabbed it. So this should keep me for a couple years.
Nice. Those are great books, great authors. I do appreciate that you're always reading something. You're always going back to some classic piece of literature and rereading it or reading it for the first time, but you're always sort of got something that you're reading from. And not everybody's built that way.
No, I think somebody said once, a mind needs a book like a sword needs a whetstone.
Yeah.
Who said that? Who said that?
No idea.
I'll leave it to the live chat.
Yeah, nothing like a good book. Most of my stuff I listen to now. So my girlfriend put me in awareness of the app Libby, which is like a library app. You put your library card in, and if you happen to have more than one library card, you get to borrow twice as many books. But it ties into whatever library system your card is with, and then you can request books, audiobooks, regular books, listen or watch them on your Kindle or read them on your Kindle. But the audio, get them on the audiobook, and you can listen to a bunch of stuff, and you can have like 15 things at a time. You can have 10 holds placed, and so I'm constantly listening to audiobooks. But there's nothing like turning the pages of the real thing.
To me, yes. And
Yeah.
to smell it is amazing. Can I tell you something? Because it happens only rarely, in my experience, which is that there will be a scene from a book or something that happens in a book that is so captivating that I remember that scene. I may not remember anything else about the book. I may not even remember any of the stories really about the book, but I remember this scene, and I will take it to my grave with me. And what I want to do, if you've read it before, I'll bet you know the scene I'm talking about. But it's just about a page, a little bit more than a page. Now, here's what's going on, okay? Doc, this story, you don't have to know about all these other people, but Doc is a guy. He's a nice guy. He's reputed to be the nicest guy in town, and he's a wonderful guy. But he collects and sells sea specimens. So he goes up and down the coast and gathers them, and then bottles them up, puts them in his place to sell, etc. Well, he has an order for a bunch of these tiny little octopuses, or octopi, as it correctly calls it. Okay, octopi, and he knows a place down in San Diego. So he's up there in Monterey to drive. I think it was 500 miles down to San Diego. This is in the 30s, and this is, we get a taste of America back then. And these fun and rather innocent adventures he gets into going down there. So he is down there now. And the reason he's down there is because there's going to be a super tide. And he keeps track of all these things, and he knows when they're going to be happening because that's his living. But there's a super tide that takes the water all the way out to the place where there's the drop off. It doesn't all just go gradual, right? There comes a place where it goes drop, and it takes it all the way out there to that point, which means that he has complete, he can just go down there and pick up all the octopi he wants to. And then there's these other things he's going to replenish as well. Okay. So this is perfect for him because it gives him the maximum amount of time to collect. So this is all that's going on here. And I'm just going to read you just a little bit, okay? It was good hunting that day. He got 22 little octopi. There it is right there, octopi. And he picked off several hundred sea cradles. That was the other thing he was getting. And put them in his wooden bucket. I mean, can you imagine? This is the 1930s. There's no talk of any permits or anything like that. He's just going down there and grabbing them, which is the way it was. As the tide moved out, he followed it while the morning came and the sun rose. The flat extended out 200 yards, and then there was a line of heavy weed-crusted rocks before it dropped off to deep water. That's the deep water I was mentioning. Doc worked out to the barrier edge, so he goes all the way out. He had about what he wanted now, and the rest of the time, he looked under stones, leaned down, and peered into the tide pools with their brilliant mosaics and their scuttling, bubbling life. And he came at last to the outer barrier, where the long, leathery brown algae hung down into the water. Red starfish clustered on the rocks, and the sea pulsed up and down against the barrier, waiting to get in again up on the beach. Between two weeded rocks on that barrier, Doc saw a flash of white underwater, and then the floating weed covered it. He climbed to the place over the slippery rocks, held himself firmly, and gently reached down and parted the brown algae. Then he grew rigid. A girl's face looked up at him, a pretty, pale girl with dark hair. The eyes were open and clear, and the face was firm, and the hair washed gently about her head. The body was out of sight, caught in the crevice. The lips were slightly parted, and the teeth showed, and on the face was only comfort and rest. Just under water it was, and the clear water made it very beautiful. It seemed to Doc that he looked at it for many minutes, and the face burned into his picture memory. Very slowly he raised his head and let the brown weed float back and cover the face. Doc's heart pounded deeply, and his throat felt tight. He picked up his bucket and his jars and his crowbar and went slowly over the slippery rocks back toward the beach. And the girl's face went ahead of him. And I'll stop reading there.
Wow. A lot of authors, the good ones, know how to paint a picture. They know how to, when he said the leathery straps of the algae, like you could just picture what he's talking about. He really described all of that really well.
Well, it's just a shock. And he does it, and he doesn't even start. I'm sorry.
Great writing.
Oh, I thought it was muted. I went to unmute myself, and damned if I wasn't muted. No, so the thing was that he doesn't even start a new paragraph with the girl. It's all right in the middle of this long paragraph.
Yeah.
And it's just part of what it is happening. It is not the start of the book. This is not a book about finding who this girl was. It's not a story about finding her killed. Did she die? Or did something horrible happen to her? Or just an accident or something? It's not about that at all. In fact, the last part of the chapter there is where another person comes down to say, say hi, how are you doing? And Doc tells him there's a dead girl under the water.
Yeah.
And the guy tells him, he says, well, there's a reward for finding dead bodies. And Doc says, yeah, you can call him, you take the reward.
Yeah.
Because what he's describing here, and this is what the great writers do. They don't tell, they describe, right? They're describing traumatic shock. And it goes on a little bit more. But this shock that happens, and it happens to the reader, it happened to me when I was reading it. He got me to it, John Steinbeck got me to experience what it was like to be Doc in this fictionalized book and having that experience myself.
Yeah. That's overwhelming.
And that's what life is like sometimes. Something like that happens, and this doesn't become a part of the life. This just becomes a thing that happened and that you experienced and that you will never forget.
Yeah, those are the moments, and you can't avoid them, right? Like everybody experiences some of those things. You lose loved ones sometimes right in front of you. You have traumatic things happen, car accidents that you're involved in, and you can't really get through this life unscathed. And some have it better, some have it worse, but everybody experiences some really big things, crazy things at times.
As the old saying has it, the secret to life is having your A string break and finishing on 3 strings, which I understand to be a violin reference.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. Mosiah's down there below. You, I think, had a chat. Maybe.
Oh, right. I'm so sorry, Mosiah.
No worries.
Is this Mosiah or Mosiah the second?
Oh, hi, Mark.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you. I feel like I can see you more clearly than I ever have before. I must be becoming more righteous.
That's it. You've got the spirit, baby.
I think it's true. I think I'm seeing Mosiah through the veil.
Yeah, it's because you're worthy. That's what it comes down to.
Thank you. I can't lift the hammer, but I can move it just a little.
So I've got for you guys 5 solid questions, trivia questions. Curious if you want to dive into it.
Well, sure. That's why we have you on the show.
Wonderful.
This is like when Ed Sullivan had the Smothers Brothers on occasionally.
That's a high compliment.
So are you Dickie or Tommy? Because I think you're more Dickie than Tommy. What do you think?
I'm going Dickie.
I think you are.
All in on Dickie. Yeah, absolutely.
And Bill's going, who are the Smothers Brothers? You know who the Smothers Brothers are?
Only extremely vaguely. No, I do not. I would not have known Dickie was one of the Smothers Brothers, but you know.
Well, Bill, all I can say is Mother always liked you best.
Well, yeah, they had to tie a T-bone steak around my neck just so the dog would play with me. So,
Yeah, that's unfortunate and expensive.
yeah,
You know, it's easier just to get a blind dog.
All right, well,
You can usually get those pretty cheap.
they don't cost much.
No, nobody wants a blind dog. Okay, I'm sorry, Mosiah.
All right,
yeah. Kill the meat industry in this country.
I don't have any meat questions, unfortunately, but
that'd have been a nice segue.
Steak sales are crashing as we speak.
Let me just fire up the grill here, and let's see. So we've got. All right, I'll jump into the first one here. So I've got some countdown music. Can you hear that? All right.
Yeah, it went right through me.
Wonderful. All right. So
that was a little loud.
Was it?
I think I'm going to need a defibrillator installed.
Okay. Let me adjust that a little bit here. Okay.
I know.
All right.
Just a little bit.
Almost as good as a lobotomy.
Wow.
Just trying to wake everybody up, make sure they're paying attention. Okay. Let's see. So first question is, an apostle who served in the Quorum of the 12 for 40 years also wrote 40 books.
Where the hell else would he serve?
Yeah.
An apostle did what?
Well, you could be an apostle and not be in the Quorum of the 12.
Can I throw a guess out?
Yes.
Bruce R. McConkie.
Nope.
Are you saying 40 books?
40 books.
40 books.
Well, the only person I could think of that would be half as prolific would be his father-in-law, Joseph Fielding Smith.
Throw him to the floor.
What do you guys think? McConkie's out. Joseph Fielding Smith's out. We got some people saying they think it's Maxwell.
Grand Richards.
Well, he had one book. Got Maxwell. We got Hinckley. We got I Have No Idea. We got Talmage. He wrote 3, right? Jesus the Christ, Articles of Faith, and the Great Apostasy.
If you would have asked who said 40 false things in a book, like I would have at least been able to limit it down to 2 or 3 guys that are really famous.
40 books written as an apostle. So are these old? Is this an older
Journal of Discourses? How long is that?
Brigham Young. That's not an apostle. It's 26 volumes, but it's a collection of conference addresses that we don't talk about anymore. Because that's back when conference was fun. Okay, I've got no idea.
Yes, Romney.
Nope.
Ich habe keine Idee.
Neil Maxwell.
Sterling Sill. Oh, maybe Sterling Sill. That was a good guess, though.
Gordon B. Hinckley. James Talmage. Joseph F. Smith.
Benson?
Nope.
gosh. Not Packer, is it?
Nope. All right. I think we need to give up. What is the
Answer.
correct answer?
It's our dude, Marky Peterson.
Are you kidding? I had no idea he wrote that many books.
I didn't either.
I was
And,
aware of a couple, maybe.
He's also famous for his advice on how to avoid the grievous sin of masturbation. We all know that one, right?
Yes, and thank you for pronouncing it correctly.
Masturbation?
Grievous. Yes.
Yeah. He had the good advice of don't look at yourself in the mirror naked.
Tie your hands to the bed or something too, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it worked for me. I don't know about you guys, but it was,
did he say to tie your non-dominant hand, or did he say to tie your dominant hand, or did he say to tie both of them?
I don't know, because the dominant hand isn't true anymore.
No, right. Yeah. The other thing is, how do you tie yourself up if you've got to tie up both hands? That doesn't work.
You have to use your teeth. Trust me, it's not easy.
Yeah, well, if you're doing that, you're going to hurt yourself.
Sometimes you have to do that
non-dominant
while the
hand's more
body's
dominant.
cooling on the floor to make it look like you're innocent.
Oh, you meant use your teeth to tie the knot.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking a more grievous injury.
Well, thank you for pronouncing it correctly.
How do people pronounce grievous?
Grievous.
Oh,
There's no I there, but it's very common for people to say grievous.
Guilty.
yes.
I know. I have a gentle hand. Grievous. Saying
That's
grievous is a grievous sin.
That's why I didn't tie you up.
I just made it look like you did.
All right, question number.
okay. Number 2.
What was the first question?
The first question was the Marky Peterson. 40,
Oh, right.
40 years.
We did so famously on that. I've already forgotten that. I was so impressed by
He's
it. I forgot it.
He's
in
kind of a
5
forgettable
minutes.
guy.
Yes.
Okay, second question is, who is responsible for reactivating many Southern California youth because of his prowess as a ping pong player?
John DeLynn. I'm kidding.
Something wrong. Southern California. He's a ping pong player. He's a Mormon. The 80s. Danny Ainge.
Nope.
Peter Vidmar.
I don't know who that is.
Then I guess it's wrong.
Was Peter Vidmar the Olympic coach?
Yeah, he was up there in the Olympics. Well, he also was
Oh.
in the Olympics in 1984.
That guy. Yeah.
That guy.
The gymnastics team.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
remember
cool.
the documentary.
Good old Peter Vidmar.
So it wasn't Peter Vidmar. We did a Mormonism Live about that with Dr. Randy Bell,
Mm-hmm.
shedding a
Oh,
little
yeah.
additional light on Peter Vidmar.
Brother Vidmar to you.
Peter Venkman.
Oh boy. I don't know what's people are saying Paul H. Dunn, Hartman Rector.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
I'll say Gene R. Cook.
The
ping-
ping pong.
Ping pong. The ping pong Paul. So
Hartman
you
Rector
got it.
Jr.
You got it though. Somebody got it. It was
That's
Paul
right.
H. Dunn.
Good college done.
Wait a minute. Do you believe he played ping pong?
He played on the Chinese Olympic team. Damn it.
Paul H. Dunn.
He was
No,
number 1 too.
I know
Yeah.
he said he did.
Him and Something Wong.
Was that before or after he walked on the moon?
True.
According to Joseph, was it F. Smith or Fielding Smith that said that wouldn't happen?
Yeah, and all those people, anyway, they threw the games. It was Paul Dunn. They let him win. It went to his head.
Yeah, his career in the church hit a wall once it was exposed how much he had lied, which is really saying something for Mormon leaders.
You say that he became an emeritus and kept getting a paycheck. I don't think it was that awful. I mean, it was to his own sort of public persona, how people perceived him. But when you make a big mistake in the church, you get to say the matter is closed, done. and you still get to get a paycheck, no matter what.
It's like they say, you can lie for the Lord, but you can't fool the ward. Which is, of course, not true because the ward gets fooled right and left.
Yeah, every day.
But it sounds cool.
I like
All
it.
right. So question number 3. Let's see if we can knock this one out of the park too.
Question number 3. What action was taken by Matthias Cowley and John W. Taylor after a difference of interpretation of the Polygamy Manifesto? So what action was
Know
taken?
this one. You did a whole show on it.
I did a whole show on John W. Taylor and the 1886 vision, all that, sure, but I have no idea because Matthew Cowley and John W. Taylor served on several missions together as well, and they were really good friends with each other. And I don't know this story.
I think that what happened was, what action? Can you repeat the question again?
What action was taken by the two guys after a difference of interpretation of the manifesto?
They burned their bras. Little known historical fact. No, I think they resigned their apostleship.
There it is.
That's right.
They resigned.
You remember it now, don't you?
No, I knew that, but the way the question was asked, it threw me off. It seemed like it was what they were doing to each other. I took it as if they had some sort of difference themselves at some point, and something happened between the two of them, and I wasn't aware of anything. But no, the John W. Taylor thing, of course, like they had the excommunication courts and they stepped away. But yes.
Yeah. Well, it's like Rebecca Biblioteca made the good point that these celestial pursuit questions are they're not very well done. They're not very well written. Sometimes they're just full on wrong, but that's what we have to deal with, you know?
Yeah. We're stuck with the question. I can't change the questions. I can't be like Elder Bednar and make a new question. I have to live with the questions that you ask me. If I was an apostle, I could change it. I could go, why don't you ask?
Okay, we'll count that one. We'll just count that one as a draw too, Bill. It's okay.
I until I win one, they don't.
The crazy thing too is that they when they resigned, it went before the membership at General Conference in 1906. They were presented and accepted their resignations by the whole by a vote of the members.
That was a big deal, though. I mean, they sort of needed to send a message that these two, no matter what these two had said to you in private, we've decided something different.
Well, I can't remember all the details that you got out, but this is the kind of situation where people resign in lieu of getting excommunicated.
Yeah. It would have happened the other way.
Another weird thing is that when he, let's see, it was Matthias Cowley, when he resigned, his son was 8 years old. And 40 years later, that son was selected as the new apostle when Heber J. Grant died in 1945. So you would almost think that their whole family would kind of be cast out of,
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you?
that kind of inner circle. But apparently
And
that didn't
his son
happen.
was Matthew Cowley, who was the famous missionary to the Maori and talked about all the miracles that the Maori experienced once they became Mormon. The Mormon Maori, they got the miracles.
Yeah. All right. Ready for the...
Oh, and he told the line about, it was, what was it? That a Maori would greet another, or him, or something like this, or another Maori was saying, talking about their dead father, right? That's the whole thing. The father's dead. And passing him and saying, hey, it's been a while since I saw your dad. Does anybody remember that line? That's Matthew Cowley talking about the Maori and the spiritual stuff and the miracles, and I guess people appearing who shouldn't be appearing, or maybe they should be, but they're dead. They don't appear to me. Maybe I'm just jealous. I don't know.
I was just going to mention that the John W. Taylor trial, for if anybody's ever interested, it's actually a fascinating read. It's out there if you just Google it. One copy I know sits on our site, but there's other copies out there. Read the trial by John W. Taylor. You get to see what the other apostles, what they felt and thought about the whole situation, and then And then you get that strange moment, RFM, where 5 of them end up all alive in 1936 when the church denies that the 1886 revelation happened, when those 5 men, president of the church and 4
Threw it on the table.
yeah, they were in the room when he put it on the table.
And
they
the
were all
revelation that Bill's talking about is the revelation received by John Taylor, the 3rd president of the church, in 1886. And John W. Taylor is his son.
yeah.
And of course, the revelation says polygamy will never cease in this church.
Section
God
132
speaking.
is forever.
Yeah,
That's
God
the
speaking firsthand.
That's the new covenant. That's the new and everlasting covenant. Who am I? I'm God. Who am I to take an everlasting covenant away? I can't do it. It's everlasting.
No. It's just God's covenant. Everlasting is God's name. How many times do I have to tell you this, Bill? So therefore, it's God's covenant. It doesn't mean it's going to last forever.
That's not what Jesus says in 1886. And then in 1936, it looked so bad for them that 5 of those guys put out a letter to the church and lie, claiming they know nothing about that 1886 revelation, when 5 of those men were alive in whatever it was, 1907.
Right. And one of them was Joseph S. Smith, wasn't it?
Yeah, Joseph Fielding Smith. And
I meant Fielding. Thank
and
you.
he makes, and remember, he's has close association with the church history department. He is the church historian for decades.
He said, we checked the records. It ain't there.
Yeah, he said we never had that. I can vouch. We never had that.
It was in his safe.
In 1904, he admits that he's got a copy with the church. He was the one in the top 15 at the time who was responsible for securing a copy and making sure it was preserved.
Isn't that an incredible story? We have done so much incredible stuff on Mormonism Live and other places. That's an amazing story.
And one last little point, and then we'll let him ask the next question, which is that if you remember right, it's so bad that Brian Hales, in his document, his write-up dealing with that 1936 statement, acknowledges that he can't understand why the brethren had to lie. Like, why didn't they just tell the truth? He admits they were lying.
Yeah. Sometimes it becomes habit forming. Sometimes people lie just to stay in practice.
Yeah. Amen.
Said a friend of mine.
Said a friend of yours. Yeah.
Nothing to do with me.
Of course.
I do lie. I lie all the time. And even if I don't need to, I'll lie just to stay in practice.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Was there another question there is?
Oh,
this
yeah.
number
Okay.
5?
So the next question is, to what country was BYU basketball star Devin Durant sent on a mission? And this is the Durant that's our ponderizing brother.
Wow. So to what country was Kevin Durant sent on a mission? Why the hell? Why would that be a thing? I mean, who cares? I'm guessing Scotland.
Nope.
France.
Throw him to the floor.
I see Scotland. I see France. Australia?
Nope.
No. Are there any others over here? No Googling.
I don't
Do you
know.
want
If
a hint?
I don't think that's a place. Japan.
I don't know how much
Japan.
of a hint this will help.
How about Ponderland?
Chile.
Ponderland.
Ponderland. That's where the idea started.
When's the last time you ponderized it, RFM?
I will tell you, I ponderize all the time. I ponderize so much, it's hard for me to get to sleep at night. And just when I'm falling off, I feel the need to get up and ponderize some more.
Yeah. Good.
The second time is always better.
Well, it's more of a challenge, certainly.
Okay, let me give you a hint that it was land that was dedicated in 1969 by Marion G. Romney. I don't know how much that helps.
69. I mean, what kind of hint is that? In
All
other
right,
words,
here-
it's a land that's relatively late coming on board. It's not one of these ones that they've been going to since Adam walked out of the Garden of Eden. Mesopotamia.
Nope. It's Spain.
Spain. Who the hell cares where this cat went on his mission? Why is that even a question?
Oh,
I don't know how anybody would know that, but
I mean, with all due respect to Mr. Ponderize,
I know.
that's what he's going to be. I mean, that's, it's going to be on your gravestone. And if you don't put it there, I'll put it there. So, Mr. Ponderize, I'll put it with quotation marks so people know it's not your real name.
Celestial Pursuit. I would have
I'm
left.
thinking of starting a business about doing malicious mischief to gravestones. I'm sorry, it took me a while to figure out how to put this. In other words, doing the malicious mischief in such a way, it's not spray paint. It's very tasteful. Instead, we match the inscription, the engravings on the tombstone with something that just makes it that much more special.
Mm.
And I have to do it under cover of darkness, so that's going to jack the price up a little.
And just swap it out with the regular headstone.
You can come up with something. I can come up with something. We can brainstorm something together like Mr. Ponderize. Think how funny that would be.
It's possible nobody would even notice.
It is, really. It is. That would be sad if they didn't notice. Yeah. It's not an easy job, but somebody's got to do it.
It's just, it's what we've
I
been
wonder what
called
the
to
name
do.
of that company should be. Gravestones Are Us. Has that been taken?
I imagine.
Grave
Okay.
swappers.
I hope
Okay.
I'm being as funny as I think I'm being. But it's possible that that's not even possible. So, is there another question?
There's one last question. And this
Yeah.
one's a fun one.
If I'm
It's another movie one.
Panderize.
Let me know if I'm as funny as I think I am.
Okay.
Oh, we all know you are. Okay, so this question is, what famous actor played Joseph Smith in the 1940 movie Brigham Young?
If you know this,
I do. I do.
an old black and white movie. I used to own it at one point, but
It was Vincent Price.
Vincent Price.
That's right.
When people think of Vincent Price, they usually don't think of Joseph Smith. They usually think of, help me, help me.
Yeah,
That movie
it's
scared the
beginning in
pee
the
out of us as kids.
1950s.
The Fly, if you don't know.
Mhm. In the 1950s, Price became well known for his work in the horror genre, mostly portraying villains. So fits right in with Joseph Smith there.
It was so cool. I had just joined the church. And I say that because it was sometime between my joining, being baptized, and going on my mission. So it's from June of 78 to November of 79. And this movie was on TV. And I think it was on at night. It might have been late at night. But I'm watching this because I'm going to watch the Brigham Young story. I think that's what it's called. Or is it just Brigham Young? Dean Jagger plays Brigham Young, I think. The same guy who plays the general in White Christmas. We'll follow the old man wherever we want to go. Same guy who actually joined the Mormon church later in life, I think in the early 70s. Not his early 70s, but he actually became a Mormon after playing Brigham Young 25 or 30 years earlier. So it took a while to land that fish. But yeah, so that was Brigham Young. And I'm watching this from the beginning. And of course, it's a very small bit. It's a small part, not a bit part, but a small part that Joseph Smith has in this, because we're following Brigham Young and he goes over to Joseph Smith, and Joseph Smith is like cutting down a tree or something. I don't know. And then they talk about the law of consecration and something like being busy like ants and all working together. And Brigham Young just being as impressed as F over this. And so he ends up joining the church. And then you get to see Vincent Price take one for the Lord in Carthage jail. And he says, I don't think he's at the window. I think he's like up against the wall, like, they got me. And he says, oh, Lord, my God. So, spoiler alert. And then they have to go west, and Dean Jagger is the hero of the movie.
Mhm.
It's very unlike American Primeval, I've got to say.
Oh yeah.
Well, thank you, Mosiah. Thank you again for giving us some trivia. I suck at Celestial Pursuit. I think that's a game better left at the DI. It's why you were able to get your hands on it. So
Exactly.
I'm just not a fan. So, but I'll take my draw.
How about Jot?
Rounds.
Are you more of a Jot and Tittles guy?
They
Jot-
had Jot and Tittles too. That's right. It was like Deseret versus Bookcraft on this one, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Jot-
Exactly.
Deseret came out with the Trivial Pursuit, and then Bookcraft countered with Jots and Tittles. I'll see your Celestial Pursuit and raise you Jots and Tittles, Deseret.
Jots and Tittles. I thought maybe you were talking about my search history. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you,
All
Mo.
right, guys.
Take it easy.
Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. There's that. So you've gone through the books. You've got a ton of great literature. Anything else happen to you this week?
I got to say something about Tim Rathbone, okay?
Please.
Um,
We do have some phone calls.
None of it good. He writes, I met Dean Jagger at his film festival at BYU, watched 12 O'Clock High with him and Brigham Young. Wow, that was a long time ago, wasn't it, Tim? So you watched 12 O'Clock High with Dean Jagger and Brigham Young.
Nice.
I think that's a straightforward reading of that sentence, but I'm expecting that what you mean is that with Dean Jagger, you watched 12 O'Clock High and also the movie Brigham Young. Okay, having said that, Tim Rathbone, in a show before this, when I go over the live chat afterward, he had said something about American Primeval, the first episode, and he was not impressed, if I'm remembering you correctly, Tim. And the reason I just wanted to highlight that is because I watched it last night and had the exact same feeling. I found that incredibly uninteresting as a piece of television, a piece of cinema. I have no interest watching further. And it's not because, oh, they got this wrong about, history. You can get tons of things wrong about history and geography, right? And still have a compelling story. Shakespeare violated geography. He violated history in order to tell a good story. So it's not like this doesn't have a nice pedigree for doing it. Yeah, you can do that. But I ended up not caring about any of these people. And it just seemed like it was created for the purpose of presenting a gothic Wild West story with characters that were drawn from history.
My girlfriend felt the same way you did, RFM.
Really?
Yeah. She's obviously got better taste than me because.
Oh, you liked it?
I knew that it was not accurate. I knew that lots of things were really absurd. There's again, plot revealing a part of the movie, but there's a part where these two kids are in a shed and wolves come towards them.
This is after the first episode.
This is later. But the way it all goes down, it's like, really? Like, that would happen? And that happens 100 times during the show where it's just absurd, the thing they're sort of requesting for you to believe occurred for the movie.
They have this part where, of course, the Mormons with the Indians are killing these people, right? And they're slaughtering them. I don't even think they take the kids. I don't even know if they take the kids. But they're slaughtering them and butchering them and everything. And then at one point, one of the Mormons takes off this burlap mask or hood all over the face that all the Mormons are wearing, right? Okay, to throw up. At which point, I think, why do you have to wear masks if you're going to kill everybody?
Yeah.
Because these are burlap masks, and this is not comfortable. Much easier to not have a burlap mask on. You don't wear a burlap mask if you're going to kill everybody. That was all I was thinking. So beyond that, I think that they would have had to, and I'm just going, oh my gosh, I hope they get a huge Oscar or whatever it is, to be an Emmy for this. I hope they get an Emmy for best soundtrack. I said sarcastically in the middle of it. This is as bad as anything that John Carpenter ever came up with for one of his movies. Apologies. I like his movies. I'm not crazy about his soundtracks. I think he was punching above his weight there. But anyway, so where are we?
The mask that they had,
that's what it was, the mask.
The stacks that they had on their face. I mean, you ride 20 guys around wearing those. at least one of those guys, it's going to move and he's not going to be able to see out the eye holes and he's going to run into the guy next to him or something. It's just, it's not only ridiculous for the reason you said, it's ridiculous because it's not functional. Just from a utilitarian point, it's not something that would have worked.
And it's all itchy.
Yeah. Cut big. I guess you have to cut really big eye holes.
You have to be comfortable when you're butchering men, women, and children.
Yeah. So, but there were parts of the movie I enjoyed, and I sort of was glad I watched it.
Okay, good.
Anyway, we do have several phone calls. We'll
Yay.
those. So, Larry, the covenant of marriage. Is this Larry?
Larry, the covenant of marriage.
Marriage?
Marriage.
Yeah, let's see here. Let me try this again.
What's Larry doing?
I don't know. Probably
Larry
playing.
is gooping up our sound system.
Larry, are you there?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, my friend.
Hey, Larry.
You're on
Hello,
Mormonism
hello.
After Dark.
Can you hear me okay?
I hear you great. RFM hears you great. You may proceed.
Thank you. I would really appreciate if you gentlemen could dig into the covenant of marriage, the actual language.
I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, baby. I've done it twice. That's more than enough for any man.
Have you?
Oh, yeah.
Well, what are the rights of marriage and the rights of marriage?
I don't know because I never found them.
Every
I kept looking for rights in my marriage and I never found them.
Okay. And
RIGHTS. You get it.
No, it's the RITES.
It was a pun.
Marriage.
You're asking what's that in the LDS temple when like a sealing is done?
Yes. It's a covenant and a promise. So what's the difference? And who are we covenanting with and who are we promising in that ordinance? And then it says that you will observe and keep all the laws, rights, and ordinances pertaining to this order of matrimony.
Are you reading from D&C section 132, my friend?
I am not. I'm actually reading from the actual text from the book that the sealer reads.
What book?
Mary.
Holy shit. Hold it, Larry. You just read sacred stuff out live on our airwaves?
I did.
You are going to get the SCMC down all over us.
Larry, are you dressed in all white right now?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I'm wearing a pair of dark socks.
Dark socks.
And everything else is white?
Come from Satan. No.
Everything else is white?
No.
Except
Not
for
at
dark
all.
socks, because I don't care what time of the year is. That's not going to cut the fashion.
Yeah, I'm not out to be fashionable. I just like to have a little bit of knowledge from time to time, and I've never been.
And
able
he called
to
Mormonism After Dark, folks. And you call Mormonism After Dark to get knowledge. I have no idea what the answer is.
Yes.
All I know is that it is an exercise in definitions, and anybody can define something any way they want. And disagree with you, no matter what your position is, Larry. I don't even know what your position is, if you even have a position. All I'm saying is that this is what happens in apologetics and religious disputes, is that the parties just go around and around and around like two dogs chasing each other. And, if that's the way people want to spend their lives, that's great. I'm not saying you want to spend your life that way. I'm just trying to give you the benefit of my experience, that this is pointless, goes nowhere. And this knowledge is not going to help you in this life or in the next. What do you think, Bill?
You're likely right, but I think it's interesting that
will you get to the crux? I know you're trying to make a point about what the actual underlying laws are of the covenant. Will you just let us know sort of where you're going with it?
Well, let's suppose that there are 1 million married couples that got married in the temple. Every one of them promised to keep the laws of marriage, and they don't know what they are, because nobody has ever taught from the pulpit the laws of marriage. You can't find it on their website or in any book. They also promised.
Oh, wait, hold. Okay, hold it. Larry,
particularly.
Larry?
Yeah.
Okay, don't go off to something else, okay? What do you think you know what the laws of marriage are?
Haven't a clue. The
So
only
you're
thing I can
pointing
think
out
of is Mama ain't happy.
So you're just pointing out that they never say what the laws of marriage are.
People promise to keep these laws and they don't even know what they are. People promise to keep the rights of marriage and they don't know what they are. People covenant to keep the ordinances of marriage. What are the ordinances of marriage? So people all say yes, but they haven't a clue what they're promising.
I would expect that the rights of marriage are the same thing as the ordinances of marriage, and those are the rituals that you go through in order to become married. That would be my take, because a rite, R-I-T-E, is the same thing as an ordinance.
Okay, and so how do you keep it? How do you
In my
covenant
heart, all year long.
an ordinance? Okay.
That's how I keep it.
Thank you, Larry.
Yeah. Larry, good luck on finding out the answer to that.
Good luck. All right. I'm going to go right to the next call if you're okay with that, RFM.
Okay.
Here we go. I think this is Jack, and Jack would like to talk about Don Carlos Smith. So
Jack.
you're on Mormonism After Dark.
Hello. I just wanted to say real fast, big fan of your guys' show. RFM, I think your wit is very interesting and funny. And Bill Real, you're just like the heart of the show. I just love your input.
Awesome, my friend. Cool. Well, thank you.
So I had never heard of Don Carlos Smith before. Before I literally just saw a meme online, it was just like, oh, the forgotten brother of Joseph Smith. And I had never heard of Don Carlos Smith. So I was just curious if you guys ever had, because
Sure.
I was looking
I'm Radio
online
Free
trying to
Mormon.
find, like, some podcasts for it.
Bill Real has also heard of him.
I have, and I'm not
He
ready.
is the kid that Lucy Mack Smith had with the Spanish traveling salesman. Did you know that,
Interesting.
Jack?
No, I didn't.
That's why they named him with the Spanish name. That's actually the name of the salesman. Joseph Smith Sr. never found out
Really?
about
No, I had no idea.
The interesting fact I know is that, if I'm not mistaken, it's Don Carlos's wife who, because Don Carlos dies, the wife becomes a plural wife of Joseph Smith. He is sealed to his sister-in-law.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I just read a couple of loose things on the Wikipedia, and I was surprised that I had just never heard this name before.
Yeah, did they have that
I
story
know
about the
in
traveling
your-
salesman on Wikipedia?
Oh, they do. Oh, I've missed that then.
Oh,
I
he's
did see the
asking.
part where they said he was married.
If it's not there, you can
Oh,
edit
yeah.
it and add it.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Just use me as your source, baby.
Yeah, I just saw where you guys, your current series is you're looking at like all the books in Joseph Smith's life that might have had like an impact or an influence on the Book of Mormon.
No.
And
That was actually Marvin Perkins, Terrell
No.
Givens,
Terrell,
Marlon Perkins,
Terrell.
Wild Kingdom.
I thought you were part of that research. I feel so embarrassed now.
No. So it is recent. We did do an episode on it, but it wasn't us that was making the claim. It was Terrell Givens, and we were just shining a light on the profound and exceptional research of the great scholar Terrell Givens.
Okay,
Single-handedly bearing the LDS Church alive.
Well, I love it. Honestly, I love you guys' work. I put on your podcast, listen to while I'm working, and I just genuinely appreciate both of your voices. So Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you, Jack. That was very nice. That was very nice. I was hoping we get to a part where we would, debate definitions of words.
Do you think Terrell Givens is a Trojan horse?
I don't even think he knows what a Trojan is.
No. Yeah. Well, all right. I don't want to say that, but he seems. I mean, really, if you know Terrell Givens well enough, if you take his work seriously, you end up recognizing that the brethren don't know nearly as much as they claim to know. and you get permission to water down your Mormonism to only that which makes at least some minimal amount of rational sense.
Hmm.
You know, Givens certainly isn't promoting an orthodox gospel.
Oh, no, not at all. And, that may be one of my main objections, as much as I care about it, really. I do
Yeah.
care to some degree, because I think it's deceptive when you're promoting a Mormonism that you've redefined without telling anybody.
Yeah. Like someone made you the guy who gets to decide what Mormonism is. And we no longer go by what prophets, seers, and revelators say, but we go by just this lay guy named Terrell Givens, when everything about the church's theology and doctrine dictates that no one gets to say anything about what is truth except for those top 15 men.
I think it was Colby Reddish I was talking with the other day, and he told me some kind of Hitchens quote. He's mad about Hitchens. I've never read anything by him, but I'm not that interested in the whole atheist debate either. Regardless, what he said, quoting Hitchens, was about, I think, in other churches like Presbyterian, mainline churches, where they have people who write and publish, who are in leadership positions, who are extremely progressive, okay? And they write stuff. They're the exact equivalent of what Terrell Givens is in the Mormon church.
Remember Terrell Givens and Terrell Takens away?
Can you imagine how much fun that poor kid had made of his name in school? Well, okay. I can't even remember what I was talking about. I'm thinking about pterodactyls now in school.
Yeah. We were only given like 4 choices on our favorite dinosaur to begin with. Remember that?
Is that what we were given?
Originally, they gave us the
Were we given a pterodactyl? Given?
pterodactyl. Yeah. Tyrannosaurus Rex, the Triceratops, and then Brontosaurus, and that was really it. That was the starter pack on dinosaurs. And then you learned there were hundreds, if not thousands, others.
Well, those were the big ones that were popular when I was a kid. Before I actually say before they found out that Brontosaurus wasn't really a dinosaur. You know that, right?
Yeah, they took it away and then they gave it back to us.
No, you don't see Brontosauruses around anymore.
No, in the 1980s.
No, always a Stegosaurus was the 4th one. But the reason why is because they found out that they had put the wrong head, the head of one dinosaur on the body of another.
They went back to it though. That Brontosaurus.
I don't think so. I don't think this is Pluto. But they haven't gone back to it yet. I'm sorry. I almost let my prophetic mantle slip.
Here we are, Brontosaurus. This is the Brontosaurus. By the way, folks, if you don't like dinosaurs, that's on you. That's not on us. Everybody likes dinosaurs.
Are you going to tell me that Brontosauruses are back?
Yeah, Brontosaurus is back. And let's see here. 1879 is when he first was discovered.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that is giving me motion sickness.
I'm really sorry.
I can't do this.
The history of discovery. I'm just trying to find where there's let's go back up to the top and see if they got like a category.
You can stop scrolling when you get to the part that says RFM is right.
No, I'm pretty sure that I am.
Man, you're inducing nausea on my part, and you're doing it on purpose.
Here, we can talk and it'll just do it by itself slowly.
No, that's still gonna bother me.
Skull resurgent discoveries and assessment.
Is there anybody still watching this show at this point?
I'm just telling you that Brontosaurus was taken away.
You can tell me any fucking thing you wanted right now, and I believe you because I can't look at the screen.
I will
concede the point if you'll stop making me sick.
Done. You
can be right all night. Okay, you're right.
You could just
I've been married twice, engaged once. I know how to do this.
We're all watching. I hope so. Still here.
Or maybe I don't.
After Dark. Folks, would you look it up and would you please give us a final decision? Ask all of the smart bots out there what happened to Brontosaurus and See if he. I know you're right. Like he was
I think
taken
part
away.
of it was the Diplodocus.
Diplodocus, right? No relation to the duckbill platypus. That's just a whole different animal.
Well, they end with part of ends with S. I think probably from the Greek derivation.
And with us.
I'm going to wait until the whole Greek versus Latin thing again.
All right. So, okay. Ashley's on the phone. She's been waiting for 16 minutes. Do you mind if I go to her? We've got 14 minutes left here. And
Holy crap.
yeah,
14 minutes?
Yeah, it's hard.
I've got to not go to the bathroom and throw up for 14 minutes. We'll see how long I can hold my gorge.
Ashley, you're on Mormonism After Dark. Go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, I have 2 little kids, and I already have to listen to a dinosaur talk all day long. And I just got them to bed, and I click in, and it's all dinosaurs still. So
some of us never outgrow it.
Growing up, I always heard the Constitution is going to hang by a thread, and the elders of Israel are going to save it. But I was telling that to some friends this week, and they were like, that was just your dad. Like, I never heard that.
Here's what you do. You look at them like Dan Aykroyd looked at Bill Murray in Ghostbusters, shake your head, smile wryly, and say, you never studied.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody's heard that. Only the nincompoops who were asleep in church, they never heard about it, right? Because they never heard anything. And you can quote me.
Okay, thank you.
You quote me when you tell them that.
And everybody in the chat saying they heard it too. We all heard that.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, not to be dramatic or anything, but things are concerning politically right now, and I'm just
whoa, Ashley, whoa. Ashley, you think this prophecy is real?
Yes.
Why do you think this prophecy is real?
I don't, but I'm like,
why are you looking for a fulfillment of it?
Shine. Like, where are they? What?
Are you looking for a fulfillment of it, though?
I mean, I thought they believed it, so I would think right now they'd be like, hey guys, let's go. But I don't see them doing anything. Actually, they have put out a few statements this week about Netflix series or
yeah, they did that too. But they also brought out about undocumented workers and sort of their compassion towards that segment of folks in the country.
Ashley, they can't go. They can barely walk.
I just
have no power to
right. But at least they could provide some comfort. I mean, I've been watching pastors on Instagram or even Dan McClellan like calling out cruelty and providing comfort and like moral direction or something. I'm just like, their statement on immigration was first of all, it wasn't a prophet, it was just a newsroom like always. And it was very like bland and vapid and stupid. And
that is Mormonism in a nutshell. That's Mormonism in a nutshell. You've hit it, Ashley. Vapid and bland and stupid.
I just don't know why they're not taking this opportunity to do something.
Because that would require leadership. These are not leaders. They are followers, and they follow 20 years behind the times. It's one of the heights of ironies that they are called leaders when they're anything but.
Right. I mean, Bishop Buddy, I think that's how you say her name. She's been making the rounds as like a leader, a Christian leader. I'm not believing anymore, but if I was, I think every day I'd be waiting for something from them. And I don't know. It just seems like it's not coming. And where are they? They're supposed to be stepping in and saving everybody, but they're not. So I don't know. Just been thinking about that this week.
Well, Ashley, they can't even save themselves. And I'll tell you that in different ways, more spiritual ways, probably. I mean, how many of us have had that experience of waiting and waiting and waiting on the leadership of the church? Let me make it more general so more people can maybe subscribe. Waiting upon the leaders of the church to do anything that remotely resembles an apostle of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And
I
you can
don't
spend
even
your life
believe that I'm
waiting.
still waiting.
Yeah, you're still
Hoping.
waiting. Yeah.
You can spend your life waiting for that, and I almost did.
Yeah. Ashley, before I let you go, can I ask you a
Yeah.
question?
Sure.
What is your favorite dinosaur?
Parasaurolophus.
Parasaurolosis.
Gesundheit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds like a medical condition where you
Does that
can't-
have a spine?
Does it have a spine?
Yeah. By that I mean a
Oh,
spine, like a fin spine on the spine.
it'd be a head of
Yeah,
apologist.
yeah. I don't know. My 4-year-old always pretends to be a Parasaurolophus because apparently they like to headbutt things. So
Oh, that's
she'll
a
run
thing.
and headbutt me in
Was
the
that
butt.
the cephalosaurus?
Oh, I don't know.
Hey, Bill,
I
can you
should
look
know.
up the cephalosaurus?
I don't know. I watch a lot of
CEPH.
Danny.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we're putting you on the spot on that one.
Cephalosaurus. I don't. 'Cause- Yeah,
Isn't that
all
the
right.
head butter with the big the armor? Kind of looks like me
I'm just gonna
on the
put it
forehead.
up on the screen. We're back to this episode brought to you by dinosaurs. So here we go.
Oh, that's the pachycephalosaurus. That's what I meant. Thank you.
Okay. What about just the
Oh, there you go.
cephalosaurus?
Yeah, the pack.
Yeah. See, he's got the forehead like me.
Yeah.
It's a very intelligent dinosaur. You can tell.
Yeah, big frontal cortex.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you, Ashley.
Yeah, thanks.
Take it easy.
Yeah,
Bye.
Bye-bye. And then it probably rips up with that nose, and look at all those horned projections. That's got to hurt.
So Mr. Tim here said, Bill, 2015, the Brontosaurus was reclassified as misclassified as Apatosaurus. So I don't know if he's agreeing with you or me, but it sounds like maybe you.
Tim, what are you doing there? Did you mean to write both? I can't imagine you meant to write both those words. I think they're the opposite. Reclassified and misclassified. I guess it's possible for both of them to be true.
Or it was
Anyway.
reclassified as misclassified. So it 2015.
The funny thing is that, I had thought when I grew up, Brontosaurus was a real thing, right? But then I think I did some research on it, and I found out that the scientists figured out that they'd made the mistake back in the 1930s, which gives you, if that's correct, gives you an indication of how long it takes science to pass itself along to popular culture, especially when something is so popular as the Brontosaurus. It's hard to let that go.
Just FYI, here's what Wikipedia says. Only Brontosaurus is also in the subfamily with the other, until an extensive 2015 study, only Brontosaurus is also in the subfamily with the other genera being considered synonyms or reclassified as Diplodocines. Brontosaurus has long been considered a junior synonym of Apatosaurus. Its type species was
reclassified
as A. excelsius in 1903.
And I think that's going to be A for Apatosaurus excelsus in 1903. It wasn't the 30s. It was 1903.
Yeah. And then the next one in a 2015 study concluded that Brontosaurus is a valid genus of the sauropod distinct from Apatosaurus, but not all paleontologists agree with this division.
No.
So I'm right.
2015 study. Yeah. Whoop-de-whoop.
Yeah. So
But you can't find a study supporting anything.
Some agree, some disagree. Some people say Bill's right. Some people say RFM's right.
This 2015 study wasn't from BYU by any chance, was it?
It was Kerry Molstein and John Gee. They worked together on this. This was groundbreaking research.
And quoting each other's work throughout.
Yeah, Terry, what do you think about that? Let's see here.
Terry?
Jehovah.
And so I start out with an assumption.
All right, good enough.
Kerry.
Yeah, Kerry Molstein. I didn't say Jerry Molstein. That would be like,
I thought you said Terry.
oh, Terry. Maybe.
There's a lot of names that sound like Carrie. There's Gary.
Maybe I said Terry. I don't know. Folks will have to, whose side you on this one, I guess. What are you going to read? The first book you showed us tonight was
Barry.
a Stephen King. What was the first book you showed us tonight? Stephen King.
John Steinbeck.
No. The very first book. Start off the night.
Before that,
it was Stephen King.
T.H. White. The ones in Future King. It's what you're thinking is the King. The ones in Future King.
Okay. Yeah. Are you going to read? You said you're going to read that one first.
Well, that's what I went in to find, and I found it. But now that I found all these others, there's no guarantee that this is going to be first. Actually, it can't be, because I went back to read Cannery Row before reading this one that I got. No, that's Jack Kerouac. Well, anyway, Sweet Thursday, wherever it is. Here, yellow. I just almost made a huge mess here. That was another tender mercy that I didn't.
You still have it. The tender mercies still rain down upon you.
They are still flowing because the Lord sends his sun to shine upon the just and the unjust.
Yeah. Somebody talking about dinosaurs. Alan says the first presidency are living fossils.
They are. So are the stars of the 1993 Jurassic Park, as they demonstrated when they got them all to come back in the last Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah,
those are the really old dinosaurs in that movie.
They're a little over the hill, aren't they?
Oh my word!
Run from the dinosaurs.
I know. You better hope that those dinosaurs are moving like the Mummy if you think you're going to get out of this and get away from them.
That's like that part 3 of that Liam Neeson series. I will, you hurt my, what is it? I will find you and I will kill you, but by part 3, he's like 72 years old and he's running and it just doesn't look like he's really running.
Is that the Taken series?
Taken.
Because I was never that taken with the whole series.
Oh,
it's like Taken, Taken and Returned, and then Taken, Returned, and Taken Back again. Wasn't that the 3 movies?
Something like that.
He's just always going back to, what is it, to the Walmart, going back to the customer return section.
Yeah.
It's like the whole movie.
The same thing people were doing with parts 2 and 3 when they bought it. Yeah.
And then there's a terrorist attempt on the Walmart.
Yeah. I don't remember this part. But okay.
I didn't see the movies, but hey, it's an idea. I'll let you have it for $100,000.
It's all yours. Keep it. We are at 9:28.
And this time is dragging. Where are you? You're supposed to be there to save us from ourselves.
Yeah, well,
did the entire phone system go down?
Well, no, it's like we're 1 minute from the show ending, so
okay,
we can just close her down.
All right, just shut it down.
Yeah, I did at some point, like when the last call was done.
We're actually over 300 people. There's over 300 people, 300 human beings out there who are subjecting themselves to this. I kind of feel like the Marquis de Sade.
All right. Well, I don't know what else to say to that. You've given it rave reviews. It's another episode in the books. There is like about 5,000 people who watch Mormonism After Dark.
Yes, and they should all have their heads examined.
They should. I think you have to tolerate a little bit of some things because we do things differently, and sometimes I think there's a little dead moment here or there, and you can blame that all on me for sure.
Mormonism After Dark is a foreign country. They do things differently there.
But I think also there's some moments where people spit their drink out at their screen too, and
oh my gosh,
a few of those as well. I think it's all.
I had a time I came perilously close to doing just that.
BDS RFM.
I don't know what that means. The RFM, I think I might. BDS, what does that mean?
It's like the sexual stuff where you tie each other up and flog each other a little bit.
BDS. So what does it stand for?
Handcuffs and.
So is S sodomy?
Bondage. Keep going. Tell us the rest of them. Bondage. Bondage.
BDS danger. Bondage.
I don't, Shannon, but
no, I don't. And that's the sadness. That's the sadness of my experience as a Mormon. Those are my bona fides right there as a Mormon. I can prove to you now I spent my life as a Mormon. I don't know what BDS stands for.
Sadomasochism is the second part.
S&M.
Yeah.
I get that.
Pain and pleasure, that kind of thing. And Yeah, it hurts so bad it hurts good.
I have never had anything hurt so bad it hurt good.
Said a friend.
Usually, if it hurts bad, it just hurts bad.
Not these folks.
I don't like hurting bad.
Yep. Don't yuck.
Call me crazy.
Well, that's that. So
That's one thing life has taught me is it's better to feel good than to feel bad.
yeah, bondage, discipline, and sadism, masochism. Yeah. So there we go.
There's no M in that. It was BDS, RFM. Maybe that's what the M stands for. Radio Free Masochism. Or Radio Free Masochist.
Yeah. You're not the only ones who, but we're also having a good time with it. So
I know. I think my entire audience can understand why that would be a good descriptor. Radio Free Masochist, because I inflict pain on all of them.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's 9:32. We've got permission to end it. Not soon
Yes, our
enough.
producer has given us the green light.
Yeah, yeah, Dave, we saw you a few minutes ago. We wanted to keep it going. Thanks, Dave.
Dave's not here, man.
Well, anything you want to say before, or you just want to close it out for us? I'll just vanish and disappear, and you can do the closing.
Okay, I'd be happy to. Wow.
Just kidding.
People come and go so quickly around here.
That's right.
All right, everybody. Hey, Bill, it's been great spending some time with you this Friday night. You know, it's very special. I love spending this time with our audience too, and being a little bit more involved in the live chat than I can be normally. I think it's wonderful, and I just love it. And I'm glad that you're here. And hopefully you'll join us next week on Friday. Once again, don't worry about that Saturday thing. That's like Valentine's Day stuff. But next Friday, we'll be here the regular day, regular time, 8:00 p.m. Mountain Time. And we'll hopefully see you again. Tell your friends about us, please. Hit like, hit subscribe, do all the nice things for us. We love you, and we hope you love us too. Get your friends and your family to join us next week, 8:00 p.m. Mountain Time, for another episode of Mormonism After Dark.
My favorite dinosaur is the brontosaurus.
I can't believe you killed my ending.